Coverage of the 2018 Commonwealth Games. Brought to you by Manx Radio and Manx Telecom.
And a very good morning to you in the Isle of Man. It's approaching 9 minutes past 8 where you are, at 9 minutes past 5 here on Australia's Gold Coast. And this evening, broadcasting live from the netball venue here at the 2018 Commonwealth Games, where we sit 24 hours or just after 24 hours since Tim Neal became a two-time Commonwealth Games medalist, the first ever Manx athlete to do so. And we'll be bringing you more reaction throughout this programme. But first, before we do all of that, let's check in on OPAC.
Hello, Chris, and you know what? It's really making me smile that you're at netball this afternoon. I wonder why that is. Well, I was out watching Nick Corlett on his mountain bike race, but a little more about on that later. Let's get back to yesterday and our silver medal story.
We'll start once again with more reaction to Tim Neal's heroics in the shooting. He shot a score of 70 to earn him a second-place finish and make him only the third ever Manx athlete to win a silver medal at the event. And history was made as he became the first ever Manx athlete in history to win medals at two separate Commonwealth Games. All that action unfolded in front of a cheering crowd that included Chief Minister Howard Quayle, who today gave me his reaction.
Well, personally, I'm incredibly proud to be Chief Minister, incredibly proud to be a Manxman, and therefore to see one of ours win a silver medal. Well, that was just the icing on the cake for this trip. The whole family have been out supporting at the velodrome, swimming, bowling, and out on the road watching the time trials. So we managed to make it to the shooting. Glad we did, because whilst we didn't get the gold medal, the support for the silver medal was greater than it was for the Scottish lad who won the competition. You know, there was an awful lot of Manxies there waving the Manx flag, absolutely cheering on Tim. He had the best support by far, even louder than the Australians, and that was a tall order.
Give us an insight into what winning a medal at an event such as the Commonwealth Games does for the reputation of the Isle of Man, not just on the sporting scene, but also on the political one as well.
Well, for example, I think you saw on BBC last night, there was pictures of Tim getting his medal, good coverage. I know there was photographs of all the Manxies waving the flags on there as well. I was speaking to the Australian Sports Minister, who was absolutely stunned by the amount of support that the Isle of Man had got for Tim at the event. She was there obviously supporting the Australian who got kicked out in the he was in the last six, but he was sixth. So the Isle of Man it has excelled itself. It's not just in the shooting. There's been so many personal bests. We've had 4th, 5th, 6th, 9th in and we're up against countries, as I've said in earlier interviews, where with India around 1 billion people, and you know, we're holding our own for a small nation. Everyone at home should be incredibly proud of the team that we've sent there.
The Chief Minister, Howard Quayle, there. I spoke to him in Surfers Paradise earlier, and he was beaming, as indeed are all of us connected with the Isle of Man and Tim Neal's silver medal winning heroics at the shooting yesterday. And for a country of just 80,000 people, a country that could fit inside Wembley Stadium, we do continue to outdo ourselves in sport. Joe, last night, though, you were at the badminton.
Do you know, I was, and I had a great experience. I don't often get the opportunity to go and watch badminton, so, you know, I'm not that knowledgeable about it, but I really, really enjoyed my time. I went to the Carrara Sports Centre to watch badminton, as I say, and I walked into Kristen Marrett playing a tough match, losing in straight sets. But I did catch up with herself and also her team manager, which is also her husband, Alex Marrett, and she said, Alex said that she did give it her all. Kim Clegg also had a tough match, but she should be proud as she scored 14 points. She lost to Canada 2-love. And Ben Lee was in the second round of the men's singles, playing an absolute badminton legend. Now, I didn't realise the extent of just how famous this man is. Lee Chong Wei, former world #1 from Malaysia. He's won 4 gold medals at the Commonwealth Games. He's a triple silver Olympic medalist, and I managed to chat to him about the match. Lee, congratulations. Unfortunately for us, you did beat your opponent. How do you feel the match went?
Yeah, today is I think the individual in the first match, and I think opponent not very tough. I just enjoy my matches and this match here today.
And Ben, as a player, how would you describe him?
I think it's very so far very well, and then different in the last 4 years, and I never been in last Commonwealth. I know these a few country and not participate a lot of competition. I think this is a Commonwealth game and you can participate. I think he's play very well for today. Yeah.
And also playing against a number 2 seeded in the world and also world champion. What an honour it is for him to play you. I know that he was feeling the nerves before the match.
And I just try and every shot and I just give it enjoy. And I hope so he can keep it up in the spirit after this Commonwealth. I think the next 4 years in Commonwealth, I can hope so he can play well.
Yes, well, we hope to see Ben Lee also in the Commonwealth Games in 4 years. I did ask Ben what on earth it was like to play a former world number 1.
To get to play someone of that level, of that status in our sport is pretty special, and not many players get to do that.
In Malaysia, Lee Chong Wei is regarded as royalty. I mean, he must be a hero for you, and for what an honour to be playing against. And you really held your own out there. You played incredibly well. How do you feel that you played?
I think I played all right. Yeah, like some shots I made mistakes on, but you kind of feel you have to go for them. You feel like he gets everything back, and every shot you do, you feel it has to be perfect. You can't really have a margin of error, and then because you're going for the perfect shot every time, you're going to make mistakes. So now I'm proud that I went for it, and I'm proud that I gave it my all.
And how much do you enjoy a match like that?
Yeah, immensely. I mean, if you don't enjoy playing against Lee Chong Wei, then you probably don't enjoy playing badminton, do you?
What were the nerves like? Because there was an awful lot of support out there for him and a lot of followers. How are you feeling as you got onto the court?
I just wanted to enjoy every second of it, really. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and yeah, there's not many players that you can play in this draw who, you know, have that kind of star appeal worldwide.
And as an experience, what are you going to take away from it?
Yeah, it's just really a really good experience. Like I said, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and yeah, I'm gonna remember it for the rest of my life.
And the Commonwealth Games themselves, what does it feel like to be back here playing on court in Australia?
Yeah, it's just great, especially to be on the other side of the world representing the Isle of Man. You know, not many people get the opportunity to do that, and we're part of a lucky few that they get to do that. So yeah, I'm really proud to do that.
You've got an awful lot of Manx support as well, people following you from home. Have you got anything to say to them?
Yeah, just thanks very much to everyone for their support. It means a lot.
And Jess, a few words about your sister. How do you feel she's getting on?
Yeah, she's doing really well. Unfortunately, we lost a close mixed game earlier today, but she managed to get through, and she's playing Saina Nehwal tomorrow, who's Commonwealth champion from India 2010. So I'm sure she'll have a lot of fun on court tomorrow.
And how do you think she's coping with that pressure?
Hopefully the same way that I did, and just go out and enjoy it. You know, these players, you know, we don't really get to play them, and you watch them on TV. You go to watch them at essentially like at the All England, which is, you know, the Wimbledon of badminton. And to think that you'll be sharing a court with these players is something pretty special.
And indeed, Jess Lee is up against Saina Nehwal of India at around 7:30 this evening, Australian time. And she's an Indian former world number 1, 23 international titles she's won, including 2 Commonwealth gold medals already. So Jess Lee, it sounds like a backs-to-the-wall job for her, but I'm sure she's relishing the challenge of going up against someone with that stature. And as Ben so eloquently put it there, it's not every day that these Manx badminton players can play these superstars of the sport. Well, we're going to have a short break now, but it's worth reminding you can catch up-to-date exclusive content online following Manx Radio on Facebook and Twitter, and by going to the manxradio.com portal, manxradio.com/portal.
Coverage of the 2018 Commonwealth Games, brought to you by Manx Radio and Manx Telecom.
And welcome back to Today at the Games with myself, Chris Cave, and Joe Pack. Now, yesterday we had some medal success, the first medal for Team Isle of Man at the 2018 Commonwealth Games. It came courtesy, as I'm sure you all know by now, Tim Neal in the men's double trap shooting at the Belmont Shooting Centre. And there was more shooting action today, this time the women's 50-metre rifle prone finals, and two Manx competitors were taking part, Rachel Glover and Gemma Kermode. Rachel Glover shot a score of 615.4. That was 2.7 off a bronze medal, so she came incredibly close. And just to let you know the standard that they were up against, the winner from Singapore, Martina Lindsay Veloso, scored a games record 621. So Rachel Glover with a score of 615.4. She can be justly proud, as can Gemma Kermode. 589 flat she scored. She finished in 19th place, but both can be justly proud. And what a games it's been for the shooters, and it had to be, really, because there's some question marks at the moment as to whether or not the shooting will be taking part in the games in 4 years' time. But let's head to the main story of the day today, and it's with Jo Pack. She's been watching the mountain biking.
Well, today was Nick Corlett's moment to shine as he took on the mountain bike event on Orang mountain bike trails. Absolutely superb riding from Nick. He finished in the top 10. He finished in 10th place with a time of 1:26.20, and I managed to catch up with Nick just after the race. Nick Corlett, congratulations. What a ride that was. You finished in the top 10th. Just tell me how that was for you.
It was good. I got a good start. Got up out got in my pedal okay off the start line, and then just coming out of the velodrome here, up the banking, and I snapped my chain. I looked down to see what was the problem, realised I had no chain, looked up to see the pit right in front of me, had to bang the brakes on because if you go past the pit you're not allowed to go backwards on the course. So I got a new chain put on and then headed off. And when I got onto the first climb, there was no one in sight, and there were spectators all over the climb because they thought no one else was coming through either.
So you had to battle spectators on the course as well?
Well, they all got, like, the marshals and volunteers are great. They shouted to get out of the way, and the fans, were incredible. There were so many Manx supporters out around the course cheering me on, and even when I was, a long way down, and I don't think there was any screens or commentary out in the forest, so they had no idea why I was so far down, but it didn't stop them from cheering me on and supporting me, and without that support I definitely wouldn't have been able to pull off the ride I did, I don't think, because they just kept me going.
Now, I've been having texts from Scott Morgan back at home. Where is he? What's happened after the first 200 metres? Now we know that it was a chain issue. Just describe to me what was going on in your head when you looked down and you saw that the chain had gone.
A lot of expletives, I think, is the word. I'd just like to say thank you to Alec, the mechanic, for sorting my chain out, all the guys at the Isle of Man team, Roachy for handing the bottles up, Graham for sorting out all the admin, Wendy for doing my legs, and then all the fans out on the course. And also Roachy sorted out, before we came, a meeting with the pro Noctis guys, from Phil Quirk from the Isle of Man and Phil Kelly from Wales, and I think that really sort of made a big difference, especially it'd be very easy for me to just lose the head when I snapped my chain, but through their help and doing the things they suggested, it made me keep the head and just make sure I kept driving. And my aim coming into this was a top 12, and I've come away with a top 10 in the end.
As we heard from Nick there, his chain did fall off his bike at the beginning of the ride, and I wanted to speak to team coach Andrew Roach just to find out a little bit more about what happened.
Firstly, that's an amazing ride he's done. Snapping a chain off the start line, that's not something you do. You might do that 100 times, whatever. So it's not something that you would expect. And luckily, Nick spoke with Alec, our mechanic, before the event, yesterday, kind of talking through, bring a chain to the first pit zone just in case. So Alec was there ready. But like I say, it's not something you would expect. And sure enough, he snaps the chain. So they had it absolutely spot on. So Alec was massively under pressure to get that done, kept it cool, changed the chain in probably about a minute, and got Nick going again. So perfect, really.
I can't even imagine working under that amount of pressure. But he came out and he climbed into 16th from, I think he came out of the velodrome in 6th, and then he's finished in top 10. Would you have expected that?
It's hard to say at the end of the day where you would expect to finish in that type of event, because he's not really done this level of event before. So he's up against the best guys in the world, and like Nick said, he's kind of hoping for top 12 sort of placing. So he has ended up within that. If he hadn't snapped the chain, maybe he would have pushed a little bit too hard and blown his top, basically. So it could have been a good thing that he had that sort of pressure just to knock it back and ride his own pace all the way through the race. But you don't know. That's the whole thing of bike racing.
As you say, it's just an outstanding ride altogether.
It is. It's just an amazing ride. So it's very easy doing something like that, snapping a chain just for your head to roll off and just call it a day. But he's kept it on full gas all the way around and done a brilliant ride after it.
And what a ride it was from Nick Call. Great character shown from him, from someone who really can only be described as a great character. He did a fantastically funny interview with Jake Kelly, the Isle of Man flag bearer for the 2018 Commonwealth Games, which you can see by going to the usual platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and of course the Manx Radio portal. Now, there are 18 events being contested at this Games. The Isle of Man has 32 athletes here, as I'm sure you're fully aware by now, but they're competing in only 8 of those sports. And I've been speaking to people from several different nations, from all sorts of different sports here, some of which the Isle of Man have no one competing in them. One of those is squash, and I actually bumped into the Isle of Man Squash Racket Association president today, and I asked him just how much it would mean to him and indeed for a number of people in the Isle of Man if we did have a squash team entered into the 2022 Games in Birmingham.
It would be absolutely brilliant. To get athletes to perform at their best, we need to dangle a carrot in front of their nose. The carrot that we could dangle in front of their nose is do well. 4 years' time you could compete in the Commonwealth Games. It would be absolutely fantastic.
What's your experience been like at the squash here in Australia?
Unbelievable. As I say, when you look at even the lower ranked nations, the small nations who have very few competitors, quality of squash is fantastic. And I did hear that one of the lower ranked nations actually had an all glass court to play on. That's fantastic.
And when you see competitors from different nations all around the world going head to head against each other, the standard does seem to improve, increase. People raise their game to play against these big name players.
Yeah. If you play on a small island and you only play amongst your fellow competitors on that island, you will reach a plane. To get better, to get off that plane and reach that higher level, you obviously need to play world ranked players. Most other nations live very close to other world ranked players. The unfortunate thing with the Isle of Man is we have to travel off island. Even if we have to go to Liverpool to play, it's still £200-300 every time you go off island.
Now, the Isle of Man was only allocated a squad of 33. Unfortunately, Mark Cavendish pulled out, so that's 32. Do you accept that if there is only a limited number of spots for a place in the Commonwealth Games team, that some sports may have to miss out?
I suppose I would have to accept that due to fun.
Well, that was Les Callow, the president of the Isle of Man Squash Racket Association there, speaking to me a short time ago, only an hour ago, I suppose now. Squash wasn't part of the 2018 Commonwealth Games, as we said, but he's striving to get that involved in 2022. So that's one racket sport which isn't part of this event, but one racket sport which is the badminton, and Jess Lee will be on court at around 7:30, so around about 2 hours time BST, GMT I should say. She's taking on Saina Nehwal of India, who's already won 2 Commonwealth Games gold medals, so all the best to her. But now let's hand back to the Isle of Man.